we have a very special opening prayer. Clifford Duncan is a Ute elder, spiritual leader from Northern Ute. He was here in Carbondale in December 2009, one of his many visits, and he did an opening prayer for the 11th Native Gathering of the Americas. Clifford was born in 1933. He passed from this earthly plane in 2014. He was a very inspirational leader, a very powerful medicine man. Will greet you this morning.
It's mentioned to me that there should be a prayer for our gathering. So I would like to say a few words to the Great Spirit for all of us. And, Native Americans usually will start all activities with a prayer. And this is more of a guidance requested from the Spirit so that we can go on with whatever we're going to do. So we try to bring that over into other communities, our way of life. So with that, bear with me. It's going to be difficult to interpret the next few moments, I think. No chimara mapugat jepunit hata marwata. Dawachi upak maras iguat chitu puchon mar. Bahan chitu puchon mar requests marum mapugas. Oro Maina bu maigaro puasa bu nivecho muy tu mai tre puas can maigaro ai report mai ba maina bu mai ro ratte pako what is right to explore nega au John Michael as muy mai por mai to want to puas catch want to ai ratto want mai nega Ahad Pima Roaches, my canodra. Hold on a second, when I was John, my canodra. Oh, thank you.
Here we are, enjoying this beautiful morning in Carbondale, Colorado. And the next person I'm going to invite up next to me is my dear friend and companion on this journey. This wild journey of Indigenous learning. This person is Connie Baxter Marlow, an author, a filmmaker, a futurist. She was a resident of the Valley for 30 years, from 76 to 2006. And then she moved away after raising her children, her 3 children, and she went on with her visionary travels and learning to bring in the Indigenous cosmology into our knowing. Connie is an author, a photographer, she's a futurist, and we're going to see an introduction to her work in this film that is coming up. And then Connie will be here to share her journey, her understanding, and the history of Indigenous relationships here in the Roaring Fork Valley.
Peace will come to prevail on earth, a prophecy. It will be through the inspiration of individuals on a large-scale basis that world change will be effected. Separation, fear, hatred, and violence are old patterns learned for survival in a bygone era. They are like an old suit that no longer fits. We are beginning to realize that these attitudes do not reflect our innermost feelings. There's a volcano that's about to erupt into the world today. What will be thrown into the atmosphere by the bursting open of the human heart will be more beauty, balance, joy, abundance, and harmony than has ever been experienced before. This has been written in the destiny of planet Earth and has been carried through the ages by the native peoples in their prophecies and in the essence of all religions. The continental mass from Chile to Alaska is in fact the New World. People from every nation of the globe have moved to this land to break with tradition and start a new, better life. At the foundation of democracy lie the seeds of true peace and freedom. These seeds have yet to bear the fruit encoded in them. The indigenous peoples of the world have been holding keys to true peace, freedom, and harmony in the essence of who they are and their core spiritual knowledge. The coming together of the ancient understanding of the natural laws of the universe and the secrets of the earth, which have been held by the indigenous peoples, with what the modern cultures have learned through exploring the scientific paradigm, will create a synthesis from which will emerge a balanced way of walking on earth that has never been experienced before. This new experience will come from the choice of individuals to abandon fear and open their hearts to the full potential of the human spirit. There is a new energy on earth which supports the manifestation of the infinite balance, abundance, and unconditional love that lie at the foundation of universal law. We are experiencing these in our lives, and they are influencing us as to what choices we make as we live day by day. Spontaneously, trust replaces fear. Generosity replaces hoarding. Ease replaces struggle. Abundance replaces scarcity. Unity replaces separation. Serenity replaces tension. New systems develop. New relationships replace outmoded ways of being. An understanding of the sacredness and interconnectedness of all things begins to emerge. It is in this way that true peace and profound freedom come to prevail on earth. The principles found in indigenous thought, the way of life of the native peoples of the Americas and most traditional cultures and tribal cultures, are principles that resonate to the deepest aspiration of all of humanity and can be thought of as pan-indigenousness, the thread that binds the heart of humanity together in a vision of a world in balance. We can compare and contrast these principles of indigenous cosmology with the principles that drive the society we live in today. Sharing versus hoarding and saving. Concern for the common good versus individualism at the expense of the common good. Cooperation versus competition. Concern for the future impact of present action versus instant gratification. Respect and reverence for all of life versus dominance of a concern for profit. Trust in the love of a higher power manifested in all action versus fear and doubt. Living in balance with the rhythms of life versus being constrained by a man-made concept of time. Understanding the interrelatedness of all things and actions versus separation. Understanding and trusting abundance versus fear of scarcity. An understanding of the co-creative power of thought versus random coincidence. Equality between all aspects of life versus human dominance. Incorporation of the metaphysical into physical reality versus being bound to the limits of physical reality. In order to prepare for the new future of peace, harmony, and unity that may be beyond our current understanding, we must act with intention and use the information already available to us, as well as commit to listening to and learning from the earth, her creatures, and other aspects, as well as the universal energies, visible and invisible, and to encouraging peak performance through connectedness, choice, and discovery, abandoning models of perfection and judgment.
You've seen Connie on film, and now I'm so thrilled to invite Connie up to share her story with you all. Connie, please come in.
So happy to be here. And you've just experienced the vision I wrote about in the mid-90s during the time when the visionary elders who came into my life to show me the missing pieces of the paradigm that I was seeking. And I saw not the way things could be, but what I believe is the way things will be as we awaken to our true nature and the true nature of reality. The indigenous peoples have been carrying clues for us for this time. Now that the old systems built on beliefs driven by fear, concepts of scarcity and separation are collapsing, making way for the new ways of being you heard in the video, a prophecy of things to come. I came here to the Roaring Fork Valley in the mid-1970s with a knowing deep within that humanity was out of balance. And I was shown that the Native Americans were carrying something extraordinary in their knowledge and way of life. This knowing of something new, something old, something different being carried by the Native peoples became apparent to many of the inhabitants of the valley, who developed initiatives that led the valley to becoming a model of involving the original caretakers of the land, the people we know as the Ute, whose traditional name is Nooch, in this land's present and future use. In the mid-1980s, almost 40 years ago, a healing process began to build trust between the three Ute Nooch tribes, the Northern Utes, Southern Utes, and Ute Mountain Utes, and the governmental entities, the Pitkin County Commissioners, the U.S. Forest Service, the city of Aspen, the town of Carbondale, as well as the Aspen Skiing Company, as they worked together to establish land use that honored the ancestral lands of the Ute. From this contact, visionary, heart-centered catalysts valley-wide saw the importance of the spirit, wisdom, and way of life of the Ute for the unfolding of the consciousness of humanity as well as land use. Healing, blessing, and cleansing ceremonies for various initiatives, Cozy Point Ranch, Avalanche Mine, Aspen Center for Environmental Studies, the Aspen Schools, along with the establishment of the Ute Trail, Ute Park, Nooch Park, and many others, brought forth and aligned the universal energies often ignored by Western organizations, educational institutions, and developments. There have been many organizations that have developed through the years to involve the residents of the valley with the Utes. I'd like to name a few. I founded Friends of Earth People that created forums for the visionary elders to share their understanding of the nature of the universe, 1990 to 2002. Sarah Pletz founded the Living Arts Foundation that hosted talking circles with city, county, and citizen representatives every July 4th from 1993 to 1997 in recognition of the Indigenous role in the development of American democracy. Olympic skier Susie Chaffee founded Native Voices Foundation and brought the Utes back to their ancestral homeland to enjoy skiing the magnificent mountains they call home from 1999 to 2004. Deanne Vitrak Kessler founded the Aspen Ute Foundation, now the Aspen Indigenous Foundation, that hosts annual powwows and the Shining Mountain Indigenous Film Festival, 2016 to the present. The Aspen Historical Society, under the direction of Nina Gabianelli, working with Skyla Loma Haftua, a Northern Ute tribal member, began a program and exhibition that travels throughout the state to libraries, small museums, and schools to interpret the Ute culture through history and storytelling, 2012 to the present. In Carbondale, Rita Marsh founded Davi Nikent Center for Human Flourishing in 2003 and the Roaring Fork Valley Circle in 2010 to sponsor ongoing programs that support Indigenous cultures and wisdom, hosting the 2009 11th Native Gathering of the Americas and the 2010 Indigenous Grandmothers Gathering, with significant ongoing programs today. I would like to honor the Utes who responded to the call to return to the valley with love in their hearts. Southern Ute elders grandmother Bertha Grove, her son Alden Naranko, Eddie Box, Russell Box, and Kenny Frost, who were early returnees to the valley. Northern Utes Roland McCook, Uinta and Ure Ute tribal chairman and Uncompadre Ute tribal historian, Loya Sespuch Arum and her daughter Carrie, and our beloved Clifford Duncan were consistent in their participation and sharing their wisdom. Thank you. We are eternally grateful to you. I would also like to honor Grandfather Wallace Black Elk, Lakota elder, who came often to the valley to share his wisdom and message of unity throughout the 90s. And Marilyn Youngbird, Arikara Hidatsa elder, and Grandmother Kitty, Lakota Nakota elder, all of whom performed sweat lodges and shared their knowledge and gifts. I will close with this quote from Nicholas Black Elk, from Black Elk Speaks, Oglala Lakota. The first piece, which is the most important, is that which comes within the souls of people when they realize their relationship, their oneness with the universe and all its powers. And when they realize that at the center of the universe dwells the Great Spirit, and that this center is really everywhere. It is within us. Thank you very much. And now Rita will introduce the Indigenous piece of the program.